Three.
We're live.
Hey,
right.
everybody. Hi, it is Tuesday, August 11th, 2020. It's 6 p.m. Eastern Time, and I think it's 81 degrees outside, and I think that's what it is in Niagara Falls, so Lockport's got to be close to it. I always say that because if this comes up in my memories, I want to look back and see what it was. Okay? So today we are talking to John Restaino, who is, what would you call yourself? The podcaster,
I guess I'm one half of the podcast Citizens United with Chris Fortin.
Okay. Yeah. And Chris can't be with us, so we are happy to throw all of our questions at you today. And I'm really excited to have you here because I just recently learned about this group, and I'm from Niagara Falls. I lived there most of my life. So being that I'm still in Niagara County, I still want to keep my finger on the pulse of what's happening in the county, and I still watch what's happening in the falls because that's where all my family lives. So I want to see what's happening, and I told Beck about the group. So we were really curious and pretty eager to see if you would come on and talk to us and tell us about your group. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your group?
Yes.
Okay. We started, I think we're at episode 6. So we just started a little bit ago. We go every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. live. We take call-ins, we'll have guests, we'll do that kind of stuff. And it's basically, it's kind of like talk radio, because I'm from talk radio. I was on WJJL on and off from like 2007, I think, to 2014. And I love doing it. So then Yawawa Media is in the NAC on the 3rd floor, and that's Peter Green. And I got to be friendly with him, and I've always wanted to broadcast. So we decided to put a show out there, and I needed a co-host because I didn't want to do it on my own anymore. Because when I was on WJJL, I used to do the show myself, and I felt like I need somebody to go back and forth with. And Chris was perfect because he's funny. He's different than me. I'm definitely more serious than he is, so it kind of works good. And our biggest thing is just trying to find corruption where it is here in Niagara County, from Lockport to Niagara Falls, and call it out. Pay attention to what's going on, like in North Tonawanda at council meetings, and give our opinion on it, and then try to get people in that will be guests. I'm not so much looking for councilmen or any of that because I think they get enough publicity. It's more the citizens. I want to get them people and let them, have something to say when they want to say it.
Yeah.
And so that's how I do it. Pretty much, if you want to be on, just send me a note and a message, and you'll be on.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
We're doing all right.
It looks like quite the production from what I've seen on there. You guys have the headphones and the big microphone and the whole thing, and it looks like quite the production that you guys have going.
It's awesome.
Yeah, we got the green screens. We have an opportunity. I mean, you could do whatever you want. I mean, there's actually a spot where it almost look like the Tonight Show set if you wanted to do it that way.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a podcast area. There's just all kinds of. It's really nice what Peter Green has done here. I've never seen anything like it in Niagara Falls. I mean, it's or maybe even in Western New York.
That's
I mean,
cool.
to have that much technology up on the 3rd floor of the NAC is incredible. And we have a show. We have I think we have 4 or 5 shows. My show's on Wednesday night at 6 p.m. And then on Thursday night, Tessa Del Zoppo has a show, which she's a medium, and her show is on at 8. And then on Sundays they have 2 shows. The first one is really cool. It's at 4:00, and it's a young guy. His name is Dustin Hardy, and he is only 15 years old, and he does a podcast about Harry Potter.
That's awesome.
And then they have the Woman Strong show. That's on at 7 p.m. On Sunday night. And then you have Edge of the Falls with Brett Byro and Peter Green on Mondays. So we kind of got a good lineup with a lot of views. So we're trying to get into that advertising phase, because the views are there. Especially Tessa's got. I mean, Tessa. I think she's known throughout the country.
Yeah.
Around. So she'll get
awesome.
10,000 views. She'll get 10,000 views at any point. So it's pretty good.
Yeah, Tessa's awesome. I know Tessa from, we did some psychic events together. So she's very awesome. And, she goes out there and does the events at the casino and stuff, doesn't she? And she's like the contortionist. She can, send her body all the weird ways.
Oh my gosh. I can't even do a split.
Oh, yeah, you should see her. She's very awesome. And then Brett, of course.
Amazing.
I've known Brett for a long time, and Brett was a guest on when I was what do you call it, like a co-host on a podcast show with the Riff Network. And Brett was one of my guests one time. He came on. I don't even remember the subject we were talking about then. I don't remember. Right. I guess it wasn't that important, but he was on. So, and I've seen that, and he's just really, really outspoken. And I love that. I love when people come forward because they're sick of sitting in the shadows, whatever they believe or what they don't believe, and they still want to come out of the shadows. And as long as they're respectful when they come out and they say the things that they're going to say, I really love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of what we want on our show. We kind of want that's exactly what we want. We want to have people that come out, just regular citizens, whatever you want to say, and have them have a chance to say what they want to say. And, that's basically it. And Citizens United is weird because the name of the show has a double meaning. Citizens United, just, as it is, just, you want citizens to unite. But Citizens United also was a terrible Supreme Court case that allowed money to just go into political campaigns at will with no limits. Corporations could just do whatever they want, send as much money, and there was no tracking. So that it could come from anywhere. So it's kind of like a double. I can't stand Citizens United because of that, because it's kind of ruined. It's ruined, I think, the way elections are. And then that's, a good name because you're uniting the citizens, hopefully.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think it's exactly what people in Niagara Falls and Niagara County, all over Niagara County, I think it's what they need. And speaking as a former resident of Niagara Falls myself, you feel like there is no voice. You're just always going to be oppressed. So unless you leave the falls, you're going to just be still oppressed, staying in the falls, just dealing with whatever you have to deal with. And, I know that when different things came about, like the Totes McGoats, when they had when that whole thing came out and everybody was going, what do you mean we have to use special garbage cans and stuff? And then now this whole garbage tax, is that what it is? A tax? I'm not really sure. Because in Lockport, we didn't have that anyways.
They call it a fee because being that it's a fee, then they didn't really, there didn't have to be a vote on and all. Well, there was a vote on that, but making it a fee is different than calling it a tax. I think then they can adjust it however they want. They could, easily adjust the fee if they want to make it higher or lower than if it was called a tax. Yeah, it's
where does the money go?
I believe it's got to be going to help pay Modern. I'm assuming that's why they did it. Now the sad thing is, for example, I talked to a guy who has a business on Fall Street, and they gave him a bunch of totes. And when they first came out, he said, I don't need all these totes. Well, at the time, they weren't being charged. So they're like, oh, don't worry about it. You might need them. Keep them. Well, now all of a sudden, he gets a $2,000 bill for the totes. With that, he said, I didn't want the totes anyway. I never wanted these. But you guys told me, keep them. Don't worry. And now they're charging them for them. So there's a lot of nonsense like that going on that I hope these City Hall will fix, because it's not fair, because people thought they were free. So they were just handing them out. Now they're charging you for them. And I know it's two different administrations, but still, it's kind of messed up. Although they did approve this under the Deister administration, but the city council, their city councilmen you can hold responsible for this fee. So, and there'll be time to vote them in or out.
So did that all come in with the new administration, with the new mayor, or was it something that was in the works?
No, it happened under Deister. It happened before the mayor came in. It actually happened, I think, November or September of 2019, because you had 3 votes. Yeah, 3 councilmen voted yes. It was Councilman Tuma, Councilman Kennedy, and Councilman Tompkins. And Councilman Tompkins actually was a real surprise because he was also up for re-election at that time. And he told, he was on one of the shows saying he's definitely voting no for the tax, for the fee.
Well,
and he got re-elected, and then he voted yes.
Yeah.
So because they don't want to, they keep kicking the can down the road, and they're going to have to, let me just say, they're going to have to they're going to have job cuts, and it's going to have to be in police and fire, because you can't do it anymore at DPW. There's nothing left over there. So it's gonna get ugly.
Yeah, that's kind of scary because DPW kind of, okay, maybe I'm biased because my ex-husband is a DPW employee, but to me, it seemed like DPW kind of held things down in the city. That's where, when you see your sidewalk getting worked on, or the snow getting shoveled, or, the sidewalk, the tamper thing, not the sidewalk, the street, you were kibitzing with the men in the road, and they became your friends. So that's who you want to keep happy.
Well, it's really public safety. A lot of ways, the public works, when your tree is falling down, they're the ones that come get it, or all that stuff. And they keep on getting cut. Now, the current mayor went to, there's like 7 city unions. And he went to the union saying, I'd like you all to take a 15% pay cut. Now, there's guys in the police and fire that are making $100,000. And I'm not even talking about the patrol people or the actual firemen. It's mostly the people that are in like the, the upper captain, or I wouldn't even call them captains, whatever that would be, the upper brass of those 2 departments.
Yeah.
So, that's where you'd get the 15%. I mean, a guy who starts at DPW is only making $13.50 an hour. How can you ask him to give back 15% of his salary? But also remember, too, right before COVID hit and we all shut down, this administration decided, and the city council, that we needed a public information officer at $42,000 a year. So they created a new job, but yet you're going to go try and it's not good to do, you're going to create a new job while you're in a pandemic and then say, hey, you're only making $13.50 an hour. Can you give me back 15%? And of course they're saying no. They're not going to do it.
No.
You can't blame
Why
them.
would you? Why would anybody? How dare he ask? Like, what? I'm sorry. Well, that's bullshit.
No, you I mean, I understand the question that he's asking, or that the administration's asking, but you're asking the wrong people. I think you got to go to the big money, and the big money is in police and fire. And there's some guys making $200,000 a year over there.
They can afford a 15% cut. You can afford to take that hit.
And if you go to Google, you can see the the salaries. There's some big money going on. And I'm not, like I say, I'm not talking about patrolmen or the actual guys that are fighting fires. It's it's in a different spot. So
I'm curious then, this new informational job that was created, what did you call it?
It's called the Public Information Officer.
Is he a friend of the new administrator? Is he a friend of the new mayor?
Well, I don't think they've hired one yet. Or if they have, they haven't told the public. And it's always patronage. Anytime it's the county had it, and the county still has that job, and it's all patronage. It's never anything but patronage. It's always just a favor. They're just, it's just how it is. That's that job.
Yeah.
And from what I've been told over and over about this job is something that I think a kid could do. I mean, you're talking about setting up a Facebook account, an Instagram, Twitter. And
I'll do it.
I don't understand. And maybe it's really unnecessary. I can't believe that anyone. And there's people that'll argue that it is necessary, and it all goes by parties. For some reason, Republicans argue that it's necessary, considering that they're usually the ones that want to cut spending. It's funny, but that's what it was unnecessary, but they got it put through, and the council allowed it through, and I just find it incredible that that happens, and it's those are the types of things, and then when it's time to vote, you would think someone would remember what happens, and usually they just keep putting the same people in. I mean, Ken Tompkins and Robert Kennedy are going to be up for election, and I think Tuba is too. Those three guys are going to be up for election here. I mean, or Bill Kennedy. I mean, it's the people. What are they going to do? Just going to put them back in? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Hopefully, the people that are watching this right now, who are Niagara Falls residents, who hopefully do vote, because there's so many people who just don't even bother voting anymore.
Right.
Which, as sick as it is, I have to admit, I kind of like when I hear, especially from younger kids, they're very against a certain party and, oh, he's disgusting or whatever. And then they turn around and say they don't want to vote. And I'm like, well, thank you then, because that means the person that I want to win is going to win because you are not voting. So that's great. Some people just don't think it's important anymore.
Yeah. Well, I think the current state of events proves it's important to have law and order and to have structure and we need that we can't live in a state of anarchy. That's absurd. My question though, about this new position, will he be working closely with our mayor?
I think he's with the mayor. I think he's doing this public information officer, from what I understand, is not only for the administration, but it will also be for the city council. So yeah, I mean, he would be, I'm sure, just right, in there. But what the hell? There's not much to do.
Like how much work that could entail. Like really, a daily update on a Facebook page, a few posts here and there. What's his real purpose? Like my question would now, with that said, my logical brain tells me, what is his real purpose? Is he the guy that goes and gets coffee and donuts and organizes lunches and gets dry cleaning? I don't know. It just seems like it's a whole waste of $42,000.
Well, here's the funny part about it. The city administrator is retired from the county, so he can only take $35,000 a year as a salary. That's the most he can get, and of course he takes it all. But they saved $42,000 from that, which is nice. Okay, there was a savings. Well,
so they just somewhere else.
So they just respent it. Yeah, and they respent it and gave it to the public information officer. And for me, the public information officer will give out press releases. Will go take pictures when the mayor goes and does something and then post them online. I mean, it's going to be, it's just pure patronage. It's just pure, you know what I mean? It's just pure political favor. Because I can't wait to find out who it is. I'm sure we'll be able to figure out who has been thanked.
Yeah.
So
that $42,000 could have went to several of the shelters in the city.
Well, you know what's sad? Beck, you know what's sad? They actually, when people were getting a little upset about this $42,000 a year job, they had the nerve, and I think it was someone with the administration, could have been a councilman, I don't know, but either way, they said, oh, it's a low-paying job. And I thought that's not low-paying for Niagara Falls, especially to start. Yeah. I mean, $42,000 off the I mean, $15 an hour, I think, is $31,000. So, it's absurd, but
it really is. There's no, I just feel like that money could have went to Passages or the shelter down here on Buffalo Avenue. There's so many people that need, that money could have been split and it could have been contributed to, part of the community. And now we have a useless job. I'm just offended by that. Like, I feel like there are people in our city that need more than some favor. Anyway,
go apply for it. Go get the job, and then you won't be offended.
Do that.
I'll take it. I'll take the money. I'll take the job.
I just feel like
I'm stupid, but I gotta eat.
Far more better use of. I'm just,
It's just what they do. I mean, Niagara County's been doing it. The Niagara County legislature, I remember when I was on the radio, when I was on WJJL, they implemented a public information officer. And that was a big deal. People were very upset. They hired the guy. Now the next guy they hired is a felon. He is a convicted felon for a political crime. And it's a mess. But the Republican Party in Niagara County figured they'll give it to him. Here it is. I mean, and I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but yeah, I mean, there you go. I mean, and I don't know why. And the city is following along with what the county has done. So, because we've never had one before.
Change that?
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
We can't change that. Like, we can't go in and say no.
About the job? No.
Any of it. Yeah. At this point.
Well, what's funny? When Deister was there, he wanted a public information officer, and the council voted no. They wouldn't let him. Now, this administration comes, for some reason, they allowed it, and, the councilman allowed it. I mean, it was a 3-2 vote, and no, I don't even know. It might have been, actually, I take that back. It might have been it might have been 5-0. I don't think anyone voted no. So,
but when you're allowed to do the things and no one stops you, you just do them. And I think a lot of the politicians that are doing what they're doing, in politics, like it goes back to the Roman or the Greek translation of like blood-sucking tick or some shit, So, but you're dealing with people that have been given a long leash, that have been allowed to do whatever they want to do. We have just been complacent. We've allowed them, we vote them in, and then we complain. It's like you can't give a long leash and then expect them not to become corrupt and carried away. It's you give people power and money and a gun, forget it, it's over. You've just given them everything that you possibly take, are simple, I don't know, my opinion of you just can't, people will run with it and they will abuse it. And we've let them. It really falls on us, because if we would have, as the voters, controlled these people and policed them and kept on top of them to do their job since they work for us, it would never have gotten like this. But we just became complacent. So you can, they're corrupt. But when did we stop yanking the leash and telling them, step in the line, you're here to serve us? I think that's what we need to get back. That's why I asked. I'm like, is there any way as a community, as a county, that we can go in and say, hang on, we don't think that we need to spend $42,000 a year on an information officer, because since we pay you and you work for us, regardless of what you think on the golf course up there when you're tapping in your
no, they don't. I say it all the time. They have other bosses, and it isn't us. It isn't the voters.
No.
It's their party. Yeah, it's their party, and and whoever their donors are. Yeah. And here, locally, it's definitely the party. And unfortunately, sometimes it even depends on what Albany's doing. But I always on my show, and even not on my show, I always think, I don't like either party. I'm not a Democrat or Republican. I'm neither. I registered no party. So no. I'm an pure independent, no party. For me, I just vote out every incumbent until I like them. I'll just keep voting them out and out and out. I mean, that's how I vote these days. I just vote them all out. If they're there, I'm voting you out, because I don't want to keep you. Yeah. And I don't even care who they are, because I don't think there's any other way. There's no other way I don't know how else to fix this. Because like you said, they don't, and you're right, they don't work for us as they're supposed to. They only come to see us when it gets close to election time, because otherwise they don't want to see us. No, they try really hard to stop.
Who's really in charge? Yeah.
They try to stop public. They tried to stop public. The time where the public can speak at meetings. They tried to do that in Niagara County. They tried really hard. They made it to where those county meetings would start at 7 and they could go till 11 o'clock at night. And a lot of and they would make the public speaking part be the last thing. So you had to stay there till 10:45. So you know what I mean? They were doing everything they can to try and stop it. Niagara Falls so far has been okay, but there, well, here's a perfect example. North Tonawanda. North Tonawanda just paid the Niagara Falls reporter $2,000 a month. They're paying them $2,000 a month for coverage. Think about how crazy that is.
We're in the wrong business.
Why would that happen? And there's only one reason. If you're paying them $2,000 a month, they will never, ever, ever print anything that would be against.
Derogatory.
You know. And they're. And I'll tell you what.
Though? Like, isn't that like?
I think that goes along with the whole corruption umbrella, right?
But why is no one calling them on it?
Oh, we do every night, and I'll be doing it again tomorrow. Because there's the Niagara Falls Reporter used to be a really good thing. Yeah. I mean, they used to uncover things
all the time.
Yeah, they had that saying about something about the afflict. I don't know, but they were always like the voice of the voiceless and all that, and they were uncovering a lot of stuff. Now, the new administration here, the mayor of Niagara Falls, Caroline Watazik, now NT North Tonawanda, and I might be forgetting someone, the Little Bakery for some reason, and I might be forgetting someone, but they are what all the stories are, and they're always great. You will never see a story that isn't glowing, about those things. Like North Tonawanda just got a horrible audit from the state, and the Gazette wrote a decent article about it, gave you the information. The reporter just was where North Tonawanda could give their excuse, just their rebuttal. So
spin doctors, they're like little spin doctors for the.
They manufacture consent, pretty much. They make it happen.
Yeah,
well, that answers my question. I was just going to ask you, the Gazette versus a reporter, which one is better, and is it all real news that they're reporting? Because I liked the Reporter when it first came out because it was all so gritty, and I felt like it was all real stuff.
Yeah, it was great.
Well, now it's it's exactly, you can see it. If you look at it, that's all you get all the time, and the Gazette is okay, but they also go to the highest bidder. They don't mind if you're paying them, like especially around election time, when someone gets a bunch of ads with them, they won't. Like even for this last mayor election, they didn't cover it at all. It was the most unbelievable thing. It was such a big deal because we were going to get rid of Deister was going to resign. He's retiring. It was a big deal, and they didn't cover it at all. It was, and I think that's because the current mayor spent a lot of money with them. So there was they didn't even there was nothing. They wouldn't. It was amazing, and I had talked to Glenn Shalokian, who was running, and we talked, and it was like, yeah, it's unbelievable how this paper isn't covering probably one of the biggest elections in over a decade.
Yeah.
But and the other thing you got to watch, and I know this is something that I don't know. Here in Niagara County, and I think in New York State, there's a lot of cross endorsements. Like it's funny. They're doing it right now. They did it in the sheriff's. Oh, that's the other one, the reporter, the sheriff. That's another one that they'll always say good things about. The sheriff, there's a race. There's actually an election for sheriff, but you wouldn't know it because every line endorsed the current Sheriff Filicetti, except for the Working Families Party, who endorsed Greer. Now, I believe Greer's a Democrat, but they endorsed the Republican Filicetti. And then you can look at it the other way with Watazik running for judge. So basically what they do is the Democrats and Republicans, it's a pretty good thing because one's going to get the sheriff and one's going to get the judge. So when you get that, perfect. They've decided who's going to do what they're going to do. And they don't even care what the voter does next because eventually when you have all the lines, you know how that goes.
Yeah.
People just follow, aren't gonna go down to the working families. They're gonna go with whoever the Democrat, Republican endorse.
Yeah,
and it's a setup.
It really is.
I know my political party is at working families. My daughter, my oldest daughter, when, I don't even know, I think it was when Obama was running, and my oldest daughter like begged me because they had a lot to do with the LGP, whatever, that party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
LG, do I have all the letters? LG.
BQ.
My daughter begged me, can you please change your party to this? It means everything to me. This means so much to me. Okay. All right. So I did. And then during this last primary thing, my daughter informed me that she wasn't even that party.
Oh.
You're kidding. Really? So I went in, I couldn't even vote how I wanted to vote because I was that party, which I think just defaults. Isn't it default to the whole Democratic thing?
That's the way it's set up, though. Like, you can only pick one of two. I'm a conservative.
Yeah.
And I can't vote conservatives unless they fall into, I can vote whatever I like, but they're not going to pay attention to anything that doesn't fall into the two, sides. So it's...
here, Beck, you are a conservative, right?
I am.
You said? Okay, now listen to this. Caroline Watazik is running for the judge against Michael Benedict, I think. Well, anyways, Watazik, she worked, I remember this because when I was on the air, her husband Henry used to come on my show sometimes, and he would always joke how he was like almost going to be the New York State chairman for the Republican Party, and he would always joke, "Oh, geez, my wife is a liberal Democrat," and she even went door to door for President Obama down in Pennsylvania and stuff. Okay, so get this: she's a liberal Democrat, but the Republicans and the Conservative Party endorse her. That's bizarre.
Yeah.
And that just shows you how they fix stuff here, because generally that would never happen. How would you do that?
I know.
Yeah. So. Then so if you got the Democrats, to their I'll give them credit. They endorsed the other side. So I give them credit for that, because at least they went the other way, but because he's a registered Democrat too. But I just found it funny that they would endorse somebody who was considered so liberal to be their judge. That's another big deal. They love judges,
Yeah.
So
it's going to be a challenge to see that play out, because of the different belief system. I wonder how much of a conflict that's going to cause in the people that that endorsed her, because she doesn't hold the same system of beliefs. So it's going to be interesting to see how they feel about that when, everything.
Oh, she'll win. She's going to win easily. I think I believe. She'll win easily because I hate to say it, but it's just, it's not fixed like votes are literally being fixed. It's just they put themselves, both parties, in the best position to get the outcome they want. And I don't mean that by campaigning. I mean that by making sure they have the lines they want to have. Yeah. They have it all covered.
Well, they have their agenda, and their agenda is whoever's going to further that agenda is the babe of the day. So it doesn't matter if you're a whatever, if you're going to push their agenda forward and you're going to facilitate what they need to happen, they'll use you. It doesn't even matter what party it is. It's anybody who isn't I'm sorry. Most politicians are corrupt, I think, by nature. And, you get into especially nowadays, if you knowingly get into politics, I'm sure there's some people who are innocent and naive, but for the most part, everybody knows the corruption of politics and the amount of power and things like that come with it. So if you're knowingly walking into that field, I feel like you already have an agenda. So, and people are, innately, competitive, so you have, the nature of the person, and then you have the, whatever it takes to get them. So if it means endorsing a liberal for 5 minutes and then crushing her soul 5 years later because she no longer serves her purpose. Do you know what I mean? Well, and I think that's all over the gamut. I think that encompasses all politics. I don't think it's just, and I think it gets even more corrupt the higher you get, or the more involved it becomes. What's, the more that it is at stake. We're nothing. We're just a small county comparatively. So imagine what's going on in the wheels of, other offices, that hold real power that can shake and move. It's terrifying.
Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris. Hey. Breaking news.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah,
So-
that's the breaking news.
I'm curious now,
Well,
John.
I mean, come on. Did we think he was going to do anything else?
I know.
It's the perfect, I mean, a woman. I mean, come on. You know what I mean? Like, so you get the woman in there because a woman, I don't know. As far as a woman being president, I don't know if I will live to see that. And I'm not in any way, like, I don't give a shit. As long as whoever can do it, just do it. I don't care what you are. Just do the job, you know. So I don't get offended when women are in office or like that. I don't care, you know. But did he pick her because she's competent, or did he pick her because she has every single thing that he needs in this moment?
I think he picks her because she checks all the boxes and she's a perfect Democrat. I mean, she's the establishment Democrat. She's not going to rock the boat. She'll do what the party, you know, she'll do what they tell her to do. There's no independent thinking going to happen. It's just going to be, you know, the same old thing. And it's perfect because we know, you know, that's how Biden is himself. I mean, he's going to just do what the DNC tells him to do. And there's no, you know, there's not going to be any straying from that. I mean, basically, they're just moderate Republicans. They're not doing anything. They're just there. That's the way I see them. You know.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, John. So you're so knowledgeable. Was this like a lifelong thing? Because I know when I listened to your show, I was like blown away at all this stuff you guys are talking about, like money and different places, and then you know the guy with the Green Party and stuff. And I'm like, did I even take social studies in school? Like I thought I was pretty well educated. I'm like,
that's funny.
So how do you know so much? You've been just doing this your whole life?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've always followed it. I used to like it more than I do now. I mean, I still do follow. I follow it pretty closely, and I'm unfortunately, as I'm getting older, I'm getting so aggravated with it, and that's just it. I've been following it since I was probably 18, and I'm 49 now, and I've always paid attention, and my family's always been involved. So I've always heard things, and I've always seen things, and you know, it's just in me, I guess, to do it. Now, I also always want to do a podcast about sports because I love sports too, but I always just end up going back, or you know, I want to do radio about that, but I always end up going back to politics, and it's just I've always I read so many books about that stuff, and I don't watch any more TV. As far as like CNN or MSNBC or Fox, I'm done with them. I'll watch some of the YouTubers though, like some of the independent news is pretty good. And I like them. But yeah, it's just one of those things. I know, I kind of know, but I also know from my own, I don't get me wrong. I mean, my agenda is that I can't stand both parties. Like, that's really my agenda. I don't like Democrats or Republican parties. Not the people that are registered, not like the voters. I just want the parties. Yeah. I can't stand the establishments of them. I think they're honestly, I think they're one of the biggest evils in our country.
Yes.
Because they are just, they control everything. And the money that comes into those two parties from, let's say, like pharmaceutical companies or all that, no wonder why. All of a sudden one night you can wake up and an EpiPen costs $1,200 a month, and all this crazy stuff. And no one thinks anything of it, and it just happens. Yep. So, it's just, and the other thing is, like with the president now, I mean, sure, he would never be my choice. But I gotta be honest, some of the things that have happened, if you took away his Twitter account and you took away his nonsense, sometimes what he says, and he's always trying to thumb people in the eye or cause a fight, some of the things he's done hasn't been bad. I mean, hasn't been too bad. No. He some of the insulin prices he's brought down, a Democrat won't do that. A Republican won't do that. The fact that he's trying to end some of the wars, like he wants to bring back, that is something that both parties flipped out over. Yeah. When he was talking about bringing back 11,000 troops from Germany, geez, Democrats and Republicans were united then to say no.
So they can unite.
Because they're all getting money from Lockheed Martin and all those different big places, war machine type places that build bombs or build tanks. And so they went crazy. They flipped out over that.
Yeah, I think it's awesome that you're bringing all this to light. And you're right about Chris being funny. He does have a very funny. Yeah, he just is. He just is funny.
That's
so.
Oh yeah, I'm not.
I appreciate that too.
Yeah, he works good for me because he'll just say stuff. Sometimes he'll go. I don't even know what's going to come out of his mouth, and it's kind of good because I'm just dead serious all the time usually, and it's perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, he's awesome. A little bit of comic relief. Yeah, so that's really good. I also think the same thing about Brett Byro. He's like so honest, but like deadpan honest. Yeah. There's so many times that I'm like, oh my God, no, he didn't just say that. But I do like listening to him too, because he just is so deadpan honest about things. Even if I don't agree with it, it's kind of funny the way he makes everything into a meme. Even when he was on, what was that, 2020? He was on there, and he was still funny on there. It was very funny. So I appreciate you, having all this on there, and I feel like it's about time that somebody dug people out of the oppression. You know what I mean? Because that's just how it feels to me. It just feels so oppressed. The other thing I was impressed with is the peacekeepers that I saw on the day of the. Can you tell me about that? What's up with the peacekeepers? Are they, the protests, are they kind of like what the Guardian Angels were back in the day, back in the 80s?
Kind of, yeah. I mean, they're all, I think it's Dante Miles and Ezra Scott are the kind of the leaders of it, but it's just people that, they're incredible. They show up at events just to keep the peace. They're not part of the police. They'll never do anything physically or anything like that. But they'll just try to talk to people before things get out of hand, or before trying to just smooth out a situation.
Yeah.
I mean, they're obvious. They're actually really incredible group. I mean, I guess there's going to be one in Lockport coming up. I guess they're going to start a chapter and or something.
A peacekeepers. I thought you meant another protest. I was going to say another one.
No. I think a peacekeepers, or like a chapter up there. I believe. I think they're starting to branch out, and because I think it started from Buffalo. Buffalo has it, and then they came in and talked to the Dante Miles and I believe Ezra Scott, and taught them what to do. Because right now in the city of Niagara Falls, we're one murder away from reaching our all-time murder rate, our all-time since 1985. So, I mean, things are a little bit crazy because, and I don't know if you've noticed how many cars have flipped over in the city. I mean, the amount of cars that get into accidents and flip over and run into houses.
Or the boats that get parked in the middle of the road.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. The cars, I mean, the one car ran right through Bucky's barbershop. And so, I mean, I don't know what's happening. I mean, you see but the murder is uncharacteristic. I mean, we haven't had it, like I said, 1985, but we're up to, I think I hope we don't, but if we get one more, I mean, we're going to be over. I think we're either over or we tie it at 8.
Well, you know what? Speaking of corruption, speaking of corruption and murder, does anything ever get investigated or solved? Because how about the ladies who were chopped up?
Oh, yeah.
Has anybody even investigated that? How about whoever it was that was burned over on the docks?
Yeah.
Whatever happened with that? Yeah. I mean, is anything even ever investigated? If there's anywhere that you're going to commit a murder, it's going to be in Niagara Falls, because I think the police are only trained to be traffic police. And that, if you want to talk about corruption, I know, because I was telling you about this, how, the reason I finally was like, I can't take this anymore because I'm getting pulled over for ridiculous things. I have no idea why Border Patrol, who knew the Border Patrol can pull somebody over? I was driving a little car that was this big, and they pulled me over, and Border Patrol was questioning me why I ran a yellow light. And I said, I didn't. Not really sure what you're talking about. And I know I didn't because I've already been ticketed twice for doing that. It's like it's considered running red. So that's how I learned. I learned the hard way. But so this border patrol was talking to me like nasty. He was just such a jerk to me. And I'm saying I didn't. I mean, he was just it was like he was accosting me for no reason. I was just driving up the boulevard right in front of Deacon Millows.
Right.
And I said, I definitely didn't. And he said, do you want to say that louder? Because I don't think they heard you. And he pointed to the other side of my car. And there was other police officers there. I don't even know who they were, but there was 4 of them there. And I said, what, are you going to shoot me? You're going to shoot me? You know? And I'm yelling at the guy going, you are going to shoot me because you think I ran a yellow light? Oh, you shoot me. Go ahead, do it now. Wow. I was just so pissed off. You want to shoot me in front of Deacon Millows on Niagara Falls Boulevard? Okay. So that's when I was like, I gotta go. So,
I mean, I don't know what. I know they have they got their detectives. I know they. I don't recall. Did they? No, I don't think they arrested anyone over those 2 women that ended up.
Not that I know of. Mm-hmm.
Not that I know of. I know that I remember someone got burned to death at Old Fusions. I remember that a long time ago.
Me too. They found her. Wow, that was a while ago too.
But I don't know anything. We never. But I mean, I don't. I think unfortunately I don't know how our city's not going to be able to cut police and fire. I really can't see how they can do it because with COVID, how it happened, we're getting no tourist money.
Right.
I mean, it's going to be tough, and I hope the administration does well because they're going to need. I don't know how they get out of this mess, and it's a mess that was started years ago too. So I can't blame them. I mean, they walk into the mess that was left from not even just from Deister. I mean, we can go back and back, and
all the way back to Merrill Lachlan. Didn't everybody complain about his war chest and?
Yeah.
Was that a big issue? But he was so nice. He was the nicest man. I lived right by City Hall, and he would walk up and down the street. He would go over to Around the Clock restaurant. Do you remember that?
I do.
Over by the Armory.
Yeah.
He was the nicest man. He would just stop and talk to anybody. He was so friendly. So war chest, he was so nice.
You know who has a radio show now, and he teaches people about good government, and this is. I can't even believe it, is former Mayor Vincenello.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And think about that. He didn't go to prison for he got out of like there was a quid pro quo thing I think that they were investigating him on where he was getting loans from Joe Anderson and also giving him city contracts to do electrical work. But he didn't go to jail. He didn't go to prison for that. He ended up taking a plea from something else he did to his union, where he not embezzled, but he did something where he falsified some documents. So he ended up doing prison time, but never charged or never anything on what I was talking about with Joe Anderson and the city contracts. So, but the funny thing is though, he is on the radio talking to people about good government, and I always just can't believe there's anyone in the city that would want to listen. But right into the thing we're talking about. I don't know.
You're not the first person I've heard that from. Yeah, because I've heard it was kind of comical. But I don't know. I think that was out of my attention span at that time. I was just whatever.
Yeah, right. Well, yeah, no one's listening anyways over there. I mean, I could open up my window and yell out and more people hear me. When I was on WJJL, if I had 6, I don't know how many I could have had. How many people were in George Optical is all I probably had. And maybe 6 or 7 people. You know what I mean? So no one really hears. And the funny thing is, though, they all flock over there. All the politicians love to go on that show. So, but that's probably where they belong.
Well, maybe one day you can be one of his guests and just say, I'm not even affiliated with the party.
There would be no way that he would ever invite me on. It's funny. No. My time slot at WJJL was from 10 to 11. And one day I got fired They fired me right after a show, told me I wasn't worth the trouble anymore, and to give them the keys.
Oh, wow.
Well, a lot of what I was doing now, I was doing on WJJL. So it was, it was getting certain people took my advertising away. And next thing I know, I had no advertising. I got fired. Well, guess what? A couple weeks, maybe a month later, Vincenello gets my spot. So obviously something was in the works for them, and he took over the spot. But I'll never ever. He would never want me there because. And the sad thing is, when he first got out of prison, I was the only one who put him on the air with me, and just to listen to his story about what prison life was like. But other than that, I mean, it's corrupt.
I wonder, for some reason, I'm just envisioning Goodfellas, where they're all in the kitchen making the pasta, where all the criminals, the felons are in there, but they're not,
Yeah, what's he do there? I think they cut the garlic with like a razor.
Yeah.
Blade.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. That movie is it's too much. I can't watch it anymore. I just can't. The scene when they have to dig up the dead guy and move him. I just the retching begins, and it's just so bad. I can't help it. But that movie's just violent. It's really, but I love it. It is one of the best mom movies ever. It's just a little too much for me now.
It makes you feel like you're there. This is Niagara Falls in the 1970s.
Leota was so fine in that movie.
I liked Sopranos too.
Yeah,
I really liked it.
I watched them a little bit.
Yeah, we're rewatching them now.
Silvio, is that his name? Silvio?
Yeah.
He's the musician. Van Zandt, right. Ronnie Van Zandt, or whatever his name is. I love him. I love his whole nature. He's very quiet, very matter of fact.
Was he with Bruce Springsteen or something, I think?
Yeah.
I think he was with the E Street Band, yeah.
Yeah.
But he does like his own stuff. But it took me a minute to realize that's who was playing that role. I'm like, that dude looks so familiar. And I couldn't place him. I'm like, but I just loved his whole character, Right. Mm-hmm. Again, a very violent show. But fun, but I like stuff like that. So I've been actually we've been watching Scrubs, which is a complete 180 from Sopranos, but I've been asking Joey, do you want to watch Sopranos, because we didn't actually finish watching it. We only got so far and then we stopped because he's not into I like the old mom movies like Once Upon a Time in America and all that. So him not so much. I mean, I only watched The Godfather, I think, maybe 10 years ago. I finally sat down and I think I just watched the first one. So I'm behind, But I love those movies. Half my family was Italian. My mom's, some boom, boom, boom. I heard all that shit growing up. The swear words were great.
Yeah, I remember them. Yeah.
Yep.
Check out Bronx Tale.
Oh yeah, Bronx Tale's a good one. I don't know if you ever saw that.
I think I don't know. Isn't that what? It's not. No, that's the other one. Johnny Depp. But that's not Johnny Depp. That's Dean Billy
De Niro and who else is in that though?
De Niro was in Once Upon a Time in America. That is a great movie. Everybody should watch that. Long as hell though.
Yeah.
It's about the Irish mob. Yeah. So there's the Irish mob too.
The Irishman is really good.
Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Plays in it, so
yeah, it's a good one.
I'll have to give that a watch. Is it really violent though? Because I'm kind of over watching people getting caught to death, and I don't watch zombie movies anymore because I'm tired of watching people get eaten.
It's your normal mob type,
All right. At least I know what to expect. So
yeah,
and it's about our people, so I should probably watch it. Right.
So now tomorrow is going to be your show, right? Your Citizens United. Okay.
Yep.
So for our people watching, I never even checked the comments this whole time I've been sitting here. Luckily, nobody's commented. So because I wasn't even looking at them. I didn't put a banner up. I didn't do anything. Whoopsie. Just so engulfed in the conversation. So this is going to be so if anybody's going to listen to you and Chris, it's going to be on your Facebook Citizens United page, or they could go to this Yawawa. Am I saying it right?
Yep.
Okay. So tell me what the Chihuahua is, and about Peter Green. And is it kind of like, tell me about it.
Yeah. Well, Chihuahua Media is Peter Green, who's a great guy. And it's pretty much it's the studio. He owns the studio. He owns the equipment. He's the owner of it all. And that's where we broadcast out of, in those other shows. And the great thing about Chihuahua Media that's really, really incredible is I was telling you about Dustin Hardy, who has a podcast on Sundays at 4:00 in the afternoon and has to do with Harry Potter. Well, him and his brothers that are all like 13, 14, 15 years old, they've learned how to be the sound and technical people. So they know how to do the video, they know how to do the audio, they know how to do everything. So sometimes so they've learned how to do the whole thing, and it's incredible to see them do it. Like the one he makes the backgrounds for us on the green screen. He does all the, like if I want a video, let's say I want a video of Joe Biden or something, he finds it and puts it up on the screen. He knows when to switch cameras to go to the guest or to me or to Chris. I mean, it's really outstanding. Cool. So the kids are learning there. And Pete, like I say, I mentioned him before. Peter Green's a really nice guy. If you haven't followed him, follow him on Facebook and follow Chihuahua Media, because there's some really good shows. Like I say, the woman's show at night on Sunday at 7:00. It's kind of a comedy show because it's kind of like, well, actually, it's like you two guys sitting talking like you do. That's basically what's happening there. It's two friends talking, and they get a little they go crazy sometimes. It's kind of funny. They'll drink wine and they'll be.
Isn't Tessa's sister on one of them?
Yeah, she's one of them. Yeah, she's in that show. Yeah.
Yeah. So I've seen that.
Chihuahua Media is great because and we're branching out, trying to go. The advertising opportunities are incredible because of all the equipment Peter has. I mean, to be able to go remote, to be able to do whatever you want, film wise, it's pretty good. You guys will have to come in and see it. You'll have to maybe be a guest on the show someday if you want.
Sure, I would love it. Oh my God, I love the NAC. So for anybody who's watching this, or because I'm gonna post this everywhere, and I'm gonna do watch parties and everything. So a lot of times what happens with ours is that we get just a couple of viewers, and then over the course of the week we get more and more and more viewers, and then more comments and stuff. So for the people in Buffalo who might not know, can you explain what the NAC is? I know what it is. I'm sure Beck knows what it is. Can you explain what it is? Because you've referred to it a couple times.
Yep, it's on Pine and Portage. It's Portage Road, Pine and Portage Road. It's old Niagara Falls High School. It's a huge, beautiful building.
It really is
incredible. And the NAC, they took it over, and all inside there's all cultural thing. I mean, you got artists, you've got the podcasting, you got WJGL, or it's WEBR now, downstairs on the first floor. Art galleries, you got a ballet company that's in there.
Yeah, I have a friend who has a meditation group in there. So it stands for the Niagara Arts and Cultural Center, NACC.
That's right. Yep.
Yeah. Yep. So yes, I have a friend named Gus. I don't know if he's still in there, but he used to teach manga. Is that how you say it? Manga? I don't know, the Japanese art.
Oh, wow.
Japanese anime. He used to teach that. And, but yeah, so my friend has a meditation group in there, and I think it's down by the little cafe. So it's a beautiful building, and that's a really great place. If anybody needs a little studio and they don't have a huge budget and they want to go to a centralized location, I mean, it's right on Pine Avenue in Portage and Niagara Falls, and you can't miss the building because it has all these really nice sculptures out front, and it's a really great place, and it's really nice that somebody's taking advantage of the space available to do something really good for the community. I'm very happy about that. I'm really glad you guys are doing stuff with it. Do you know what Chihuahua stands for?
Oh God, Peter told me it had to do with a dog he had at one time, I believe. It's a Yorkie and a Chihuahua. Okay, it was a Yorkie and a Chihuahua. And and it's Yowawa.
That's awesome.
That's what that was. That's how it got the name.
All right. Okay. Well, hey, everybody's got to have a reason to have a name somehow. That's good. Okay, so we talked about all the corruption. Well, not all the corruption in Niagara Falls. Things that you've touched on that you think are corrupt and need to be brought to light, and that's what your show with Chris is on the Uawa network. So you and Chris Fortin. So anybody else can watch it on Facebook at the Citizens United page. If you go on to the Citizens United page, you can just click on and is it like the page, and then you just start getting notifications?
Right, and and then Yowawa's the same way, and it'll be on mine too, and my wife always shares it, and I get it shared pretty good throughout all the groups. Like I'll share it through like the like Niagara Falls Uncensored or Street News, all that stuff. So it just gets shared.
Yeah. I just posted a video of mine and Beck's discussion. No, I'm sorry, it wasn't mine and Beck's. It was mine and my niece Jessica's discussion the other day. She was talking about, she wanted to just get some things out about mental illness as like a young person. Right. She's in her early 20s. So, and I put up the numbers to crisis services and stuff like that. And I shared it a bunch of places. And I put it on the Niagara Falls Censored, and they pulled it down right away. And I got a slap on the hand. Well, a little explanation why they took it down. So I was like, okay. Yeah, all right. I guess there's nobody here that needs to hear it. So.
See what I mean? That was the whole point of doing the show. It's because it's the most underaddressed, underrated, underappreciated. There are more people that suffer with mental health than anyone could possibly know.
Absolutely.
And it is people can't get offended by it. People they can't handle it. They don't want to talk about it, so they ignore it.
It's a scary topic if you're not until you have to face it.
They're sitting there with their wine and their pills or whatever your vice is. Whatever, everybody's got something. You know, and it's sad that really upsets me that was censored that way.
Yeah,
on a group that's called Uncensored. Sorry.
Right.
Yeah, Niagara Falls Uncensored.
Uncensored, censored something. Yeah. What is that?
I get censored there. I get censored there all the time. Actually, I shouldn't have brought them up because they don't let my show on there. They're ones that when I've shared it, they throw me out. Wow. So they don't. But the other ones, like there's a Town of Niagara one, there's a Lockport News one. Those people just let it go. But that's right. Niagara Falls Uncensored is the one that always shuts us down.
They have to change their name.
Yeah,
unless it's according to what they feel, But whatever.
I'll tell you what, though, since I've moved away from Niagara Falls, I have a much clearer picture of things that are going on in the falls. And I try to, like I said, keep in touch with groups and activities that are going on in the county. And I love Lockport. Oh my God. I love Lockport. And there's people that have lived here their whole lives that talk about how they don't like it here and stuff. And I'm like, you never lived in the falls. That's all I can say about that.
Well, when I had the Green Party, Wade Van Valkenburg on, he's a Lockport guy. And I'll tell you, he's incredible. The stuff that he does for the city. And especially for the homeless there. And
I would love to meet him sometime. I really would.
Yeah, he's the kind of guy you'd want in government. It's really too bad because those are the type of people that they generally like to shun away because they're not in the group. You know what I mean? They're not in because they think a little.
Sit at our table. One of those. You can't sit at our table.
People that think too much aren't really welcome. So, but I hope he breaks through and maybe he'll win mayor of Lockport or. Something, because I think he's the perfect type of person who, he was homeless when he was a child. So, it's just a whole story that he's the type of guy that should really be involved.
Yeah, I listened to him, and I know that when we had the protests here in Lockport, I was just as happy as when the protests were happening here as that they did in Niagara Falls. I was so impressed in Niagara Falls because the protests went completely fine.
Right.
at least for as long as I watch. I don't know what happened after I stopped. Was that you?
No,
That was like
fine. Everything went fine. The first protest, our people were amazing, but talking about the corruption in Niagara Falls does not, the two, don't really go together. That the people are affected by the corruption, and we have the murder rate we have, and we have all of the problems. But our people came through when it came to go and protest and prove their point. They were amazing. It's amazing.
I thought it was great. I was watching there was older people protesting, and when the younger people would start like throwing firecrackers or something, they went over there right away, and like the citizens policed themselves. They went over and stopped it.
The way it should be done.
It was really good.
Did that, more people. We need to run our country. I have a real firm, like, I just believe that we need to kind of take it all back and just kind of make the decisions for them, because they clearly can't make them for themselves. And, we find out things after the fact, shit's under the table, like trying to pass stimulus packages, but you want a bunch of bull crap. It goes everywhere. It's all over it's just, we need to be involved. We need to be able to veto, but people like easy. People don't want to worry about things. They don't want to worry about the sewage. They don't want to worry about all the things that they elect these people to office for. Therefore, they give them, a lot of power. And then, we have to, I think, take it back. I think that that's what we need to do. But the division, going back to the two parties, it's a great way to keep a country divided no matter what. Doesn't matter. No matter how united you get, well, you're a Republican and you're a Democrat, and that's it. And we have our, so there's even division there, even when you can come together. It's just inbred. It's inbred. Right. If we had, multiple conservative parties, whatever party people wanted to, if it was truly free and we truly had a say, then anyone could run and anything would be acknowledged. There has to be order. I understand that. There's a certain amount of order. But I think that, I don't know, there would be less division and we'd be far more effective. People would be afraid of us. They used to fear us, the politicians. They don't anymore. No. So, and now we have troubled people, running our country, running our states, and it's our, I feel like
you're right.
Fix it and call them out. I'm all about calling them out. I don't care if I like you either. Like, just, I can separate the two. You can be a decent person to me, but if you're failing me politically, then we have a problem, especially if I voted you in. Yeah. Now we have a problem. I voted in a mayor that just now created a $42,000 a year job that I think is absurd. So I take, issue with that. It's frivolous. Yeah. It's like buying a $40,000 toilet seat. Like, really? You know what I mean? So.
You're right.
But not enough people will speak up. They're too complacent.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. Way too complacent. And in the end, it's funny. The voters or the citizens will separate themselves in blue and red, Democrat, Republican. But in the end, they both pretty much just want power, and they just do the same thing. And in the end, they do the same thing. And it's maddening, but I noticed. Yeah. You're right though. That's exactly the way I feel. I don't care if they're my friend or not. If I don't think they, if like the guys on the council that approved, they got to be held accountable. And if they're not, they'll just do worse next time.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They'll continue like unchecked, just like anything that goes unchecked is going to get away from itself, and that includes people with power and influence, so, and that's terrifying because they make the rules or they endorse the rules or they enforce whatever is supposed to be until we're told they don't work for us. But they're doing it behind the backs and they're making decisions that we have no say in. And then people act surprised,
right.
Because, I don't know. I just feel like if we just reined them back and reminded them who pays their salary and who the real boss is. We are the boss of everybody. Any politician, including the president, we are the boss. We vote them in. We pay their salary. Right. So we have to somehow get that back into the mainstream. We need to make them fear us again, and we need to start checking them. and making sure they're doing the things. But again, people are too complacent. And, well, that's too much work. I don't want to do that. You know,
Right.
And that's the problem. That's why I vote him in, so I don't have to worry about it. God.
Yeah.
Okay. You know, so that's like, you know, you just can't win, you know, even though we know the truth. It's like beating a dead horse.
Yeah.
Sadly.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have one more question. Can I be a peacekeeper? Do you know?
Yes.
I can be
Yeah.
a peacekeeper, wear that yellow shirt, and make phone calls. I don't really, want to go confront people, but
Oh, you definitely can. You
I can
go
make
on
phone
their,
calls all day long.
go to their they have a Facebook page, NF Peacekeepers, and yeah, yep.
Did
you
it.
can
I'm on it.
That's awesome.
I'm
I
on
would
it.
definitely
I'm
do that.
already, definitely. So
Yeah.
I think this is a really good discussion. I'm so glad that you came on here and talked to us. And so we're also
Me too.
on YouTube at the same time. And I probably should have said this a long time ago. If you like this video, subscribe and like.
Right.
Nah, but my YouTube channel is White Light Mystic. So
We really got to make a YouTube channel for us for the
yeah,
Trooper Goes.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
But this has been very fun. So I think
Thank you.
is there anything else
Oh, yeah,
that
it's been
we
great.
didn't cover? I know that there's a lot, but is there anything else that you want to mention? I know we talked about Peter Green and Uwawa, and you mentioned all the shows. So that's
Yeah.
really good. Your show is going to be on tomorrow night, Wednesday night at 6 p.m. on
Yep.
Facebook. You can go, anybody can go to Citizens United on Facebook, or you can just go to the Uwawa page on,
Right.
which is YAWOWA on Facebook.
I think it's
Right?
YOWOWA. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So
All right. Well, thank you. I had a lot of fun. Thank you,
Oh, me
guys.
too.
Good,
I'm so glad
good.
you came. So great.
thank you so much. I'm
Yes.
so going to be all over that. I'll be listening tomorrow. Oh, you bet.
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
Call
Yeah,
me.
you guys know way more than I know. So I'm like, I know there's some things that Brett Byro talks about. And I'm like, did I even grow up here? Oh, my God. Like, where was I when I must have missed so much? I don't know. But, a lot of things go back to like teenage years, and all
Yeah.
teenage girls are dumb. So, so
Thank you, guys.
okay.
Oh,
Well,
thanks
bye,
for coming on the
Robin.
show.
Bye, Robin.
Bye.
Thank you, guys.
Thank
You're very
you.
welcome. Okay, so Beck and I will be back Tuesday at 6 p.m. I don't know what we're going to be talking about. We'll think about something. And we will see you Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Okay,
Yes.
bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye. Thanks.